Hello and welcome to another episode of Live Feed with your host, Richard Santiago. Live Feed is brought to you by Traveling Tech Teacher for all your digital resources. Check out travelingtechteacher.com. Also brought to you by thebullyexposed.com. Be sure to follow them and subscribe to their YouTube account at Nonfiction Filmmaker. Nonfiction Filmmaker, guys. Be sure to subscribe. Help them out. A lot of you are always saying, I can't help financially. How else can I help? If you subscribe to our channel, then the Bully Exposed will get funds from any of the commercials that are played on the videos that we upload to the account. So that's one way to help us out, and we appreciate that. So, 9 ways to study better. A lot of you young guys and girls have been saying to me that because of bullying that is occurring to you, you are unable to study properly because you're constantly thinking of the things that the bully did to you. So we decided to come up with a couple of ways to study better. And I know it's usually a top 10 list, right? Unfortunately, we could only come up with 9, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. That doesn't make this episode imperfect, and it doesn't make you imperfect because you're having a hard time studying because of what's occurring with you and your bully. So let's get started, right? Okay, so number 9. One great way to study is that you can watch videos on Vimeo about whatever subject you're learning on. Now, believe me, when I first started years ago with learning to use editing software, video editing software, which is when I first started, it was Final Cut. When I first started in the business, it was Final Cut. I went to Vimeo lots of times to try and figure out what I might have been taught in class, or just to advance and do something better with my videos to bring into when I was studying film. So there's lots of videos up on Vimeo. Do a search, find the video that's right for whatever subject you're working on, and I think that is the best way. That's one of the best ways to study better. So number 8, get a pen pal in another country who's learning that same subject. Years ago, for some of you that are young, years ago, writing to someone from another country, which is called pen paling, I guess, is something that's old, and I don't think people do it anymore because everybody wants a quick answer, right? If I reply to just before I started the show, I replied to the father of a young lady who's given us music, donating music to us for one of our films that we're currently working on. And if we had to write letters to each other, it would take forever. Or if I had to call her to get an instant, or him to get an instant answer, it would be expensive. So pen paling is something people don't do anymore because you have to pay for the stamp and the reply is so long. But I think that there are you just look them up. There are apps that will help with pen paling, making pen paling more digital. So, talk with someone from another country about whatever subject you're learning. You will get a different response and maybe you can learn a different way to attack a situation, whether it be math or any other subject. So get a pen pal is number 8. Number 7, complete a set of goals in that subject. So I know with me, again, going back to film, because that's what I do for a living, I know that I set myself goals, and it was so helpful, guys, in helping me learn. By this time, I want to learn how to do A, B, or C in film. So setting goals for yourself is in that subject is a great way to study better and learn better, learn the subject better. Number 6, create a friendly competition with friends to see who can excel in that subject. I thought this was a great idea. This is definitely not my idea. This is one of our guys that help us with this channel's idea. And I thought it was such a great idea, as long as it doesn't turn into bullying, right, amongst friends. So make sure you watch very carefully that it doesn't become an unfriendly competition. Let's put it that way. But setting up competitions with friends, and if it's spelling, have a spelling competition. I think is a great thing to do. So I really liked number 6. Number 5, teach a family member what you learned in school. Now this is something I will tell you that I've done a lot. Okay, my daughter, she doesn't do photography on a professional level. At least I don't think she does. Maybe she might make a couple of dollars here and there with her photography, but she does it definitely as a hobby. That I know for sure, and that stemmed from me. Okay, let me tell the story this way. So in photography, there are 6 forms of composition: lines and shapes, rule of thirds, simplicity, informal balance, formal balance. Just to give you guys a few ideas. So what I used to do with my daughter all the time, because I had an instructor that said the same thing. To teach a family member, teach someone what you learned, talk to someone about what photography and what you learned. So I used to play this beautiful game with her, and I used to draw 6 boxes on a sheet of paper, and then I used to draw in what simplicity looked like. I used to draw in rules of thirds, and I started by showing my daughter, this is rule of thirds, this is simplicity, this is informal balance, this is formal balance, this is lines and shapes. And then after a while, what I used to do was draw them, and she would have to, when she learned how to spell and write, even before she learned how to spell and write, she would have to point to, if I would say simplicity, she would have to point to the photo that was simplicity. And me and my daughter have been playing this game for almost ever, as long as I could remember. So it works, guys. It works. And if the person is young, like your daughter or your son, you can teach them to have the same love for photography as I did with my daughter. So that's a great one. And I'm going to repeat that one again. Number 5, teach a family member what you learned in school. Very important. Number 3, create a reading list of books. So I will be totally honest, guys, and I'm sure there's a few people like me out there, that I don't find reading novels interesting. Okay? But I do find reading books about any particular subjects, photography, filmmaking, art, whatever, that teaches you the fundamentals, very interesting. So whether you like reading novels, okay, or you like reading books, instructional books, make a list of books that you want to read. I definitely did this in college. I went and searched a list of books, and I created a list of books that I would like to read. And give yourself a time frame. Give yourself a reasonable time frame, guys. That's important. If you give yourself an unrealistic time frame, then you're probably not gonna you're not going to enjoy it as much. So give yourself a reasonable time to read this list of books. And again, it doesn't matter if they're novels, it doesn't matter if they're instructional books, but create yourself a list. Number 2, after a day of school, go over your notes and what you've learned. For me, this was extremely important. I'm not a good. When I was in school, I was not a good note taker. I was not very good at that. So going over the notes after the class, shortly after the class, helped me to remember what the professor or what the teacher said. So that's definitely good. Go over the notes. Again, Monday, after school, go over your notes that you did on Monday. Tuesday, go and study the notes that you learned on Tuesday. If you have time, go back and study Mondays too, and so on and so on. So Wednesday, you want to go over Wednesday's notes, Tuesday's notes, and Monday's notes, and then so on, and then Friday, and even on Saturday, guys, take yourself a little time to also go over the notes again from the week, and I promise you it would help you a lot. Another thing that I did that I just thought about just now, and I want to bring it up to you guys before we go to number 1. One thing that I really did that really helped me out a lot is when I went over my notes, I would make an audio file. Sometimes if I had time, I would make a video file explaining what I talked about. So again, let's go back to photography. So you have 6 forms of composition that you can frame the picture, right? So I would make a video, and I would say, so the 6 forms of composition are simplicity, informal balance, formal balance, rules of thirds, lines and shapes, and I'm missing some other ones. But then I would have a little picture that goes with it, and I would upload that to Vimeo, and then when I had free time sitting around, I would watch that video and listen to the notes. If I didn't have time to watch it, I would put earbuds in and plug in and listen to it. So I would make like an hour-long video talking about my notes for that week. I would make it at the end of the week. And then even when I was going through college and I was working as a postal carrier for the United States Postal Service, if I was your letter carrier, you saw me with headphones and you would think I'm listening to music. No, I was listening to my notes that I created. Well, to be honest, when I created the first one with my voice and I didn't like it, and it distracted me. So that may be something you guys want to know. None of us, okay, like our voices. So don't think it's just you, okay, guys? Nobody likes their own voice. So maybe get your mom to do it, or your brother, or your sister, and plug in and listen. And that helped me to retain things. And so when I was taking a test, it would be easy to retain because I heard this thing constantly over and over and over again. So number 2 is very important. So number 1 of the 9 ways to study better. Before we get to number 1, let me also say that live feed is brought to you by thebullyexposed.com. Be sure to follow their YouTube channel at Nonfiction Filmmaker, and even follow them at Vimeo.com as well, under the name The Bully Exposed. So Vimeo.com, follow them at The Bully Exposed, and on YouTube, follow them on Nonfiction Filmmaker. So thank you for that. And so the 9th, number 1 way to study better, guys, is to set up a group study meeting with other classmates. Now this is something I've never done, and I'm gonna put it out there straight. You're probably gonna be called nerd in school, and you know what? Don't worry about what people say. It's important that you learn to love yourself, because believe me, guys, no matter what you do, no matter what, someone's always gonna find something negative about you. So don't worry about that. But a study group gets together with some friends, create a study group that all you guys can get together. Because, like I said, I'm a bad note taker, right? So I would always look at my other friends who was a great note taker, and write notes that I missed that she wrote down. And that's the other thing. Somebody might say something. I mean, the professor might say something, or teacher might say something. You wrote it down, but five other kids didn't write it down, and vice versa. So you can share that with them as well. Share your notes, because you might get something they might not get. So remember that. So let's go over it again, guys. 9 ways to study better. Thank you for those that are joining us. Remember to smash that heart, whether you're watching this live or recorded. Smash that heart, and remember to comment all the time, because something you say might help another kid. Remember that. Okay, so 9 ways to study better. Number 9, watch videos about the subject on Vimeo. Okay. Number 8, get a pen pal from another country who's learning the same language. And there are apps out there. I'm sorry, guys, I don't remember. I think one is Student Exchange. I could be wrong, or I can't remember. But there's a lot of them that end with exchange. Penpal Exchange, I think, is one. Whatever. Go to the app store or wherever you get apps, and do a search for pen pal, and they'll come up. So get a pen pal from another country. Number 7, complete a set of goals that in that subject. Okay, by this time, I want to know by heart all the composition, all the photography compositions. That's what you want to do. In film, there are 9 basic ways you can there's a lot more, but the basic ones, there are 9 basic ones. So put in if you're studying film, put by a set time, I want to learn all 9 of them. Okay. Number 6, create a friendly competition with friends to see who excels in that subject. Remember to just keep it friendly, that's all. Number 5, teach a family member what you learned in school. If you can repeat and teach someone what you learned, it sticks better. Number 4, create an easy to read list. An easy read list of things that you've learned. Number 3, create a read list of books. All right. Number 2, after a day of school, go over the notes of what you learned. Okay, so Monday, go over the notes of what you learned. Tuesday, go over your notes. And if you have time, your notes from both days, and so on and so on and so on. Number 3, create a read list of books. Number 2, after school, go over the notes of what you learned. Wait a minute, what did I do here? Did I jump? I jumped ahead. I apologize. So that's number 2. And the number 1 way to study better, set up a group of a study group meeting with other classmates. That's a very good way. And that way you can compare notes and share notes and do better in the class. Remember, guys, I know it's difficult, but try not to let the bully get to you to where you can't sleep, to where you can't study. Never let the bully get to you that way. And believe me, I've learned this. The best thing for you to do is to know that you are worth something, and that when they are being rude and they're bullying you, it's a reflection of them and not you. Remember that. So I want to remind you guys that live feed is brought to you by Traveling Tech Teacher. For all your digital resources, check out travelingtechteacher.com, and brought to you by thebullyexposed.com. Get your t-shirt at represent.com/store/thebullyexposed, and remember to follow them on Vimeo at thebullyexposed.com and on YouTube at Nonfiction Filmmaker. That's going to do it for me today, guys. Thank you for stopping by. Thank you for smashing that heart. Remember, it doesn't matter if you're watching this live or recorded. Comment, share, and remember to smash that heart. Show me some love. Show us some love. Remember, anyone can wear the crown. Anyone can be a hero. Be kind to one another, guys, please, and have a great day. Bye.